What up, people? It's your boy, the host with the most. I do not brag or boast, and I'm coming to you guys live from coast to coast. It's your boy, I'm Chris Down One, and welcome to another fabulous live stream of Just My Opinion podcast. It's your boy, the host with the most. Feel free, be sure to hit the subscription button, the notification bell, share this live stream with your friends, family, as well as your followers. If you want to further support the campaign, Don Squad in the house, stand up. By the way, hit the join membership button. Remember, membership has its privileges, as well as you want to donate to the channel, which is very appreciative. Okay, hit the super chat, super stickers, as well as you can hit the Cash App, $. I'm Krista Dom One. Check out the links in the description below. Subscribe and enjoy. You will not be disappointed. I promise you. Okay. Got all that stuff on out of the way. I believe this is episode 4 of season 3, Just My Opinion podcast. And today we got a doozy. Okay. We're going to be talking about the recent trade news that went down, that went official last week. We're also going to be talking about a very recent trade that went down over the weekend, sent a major player to a very highly competitive team. This team is also in the news as one of the teams that could possibly go to the NBA Finals, and it completely changed the dynamics of the Eastern Conference. Okay, so without further ado, let's get into today's topic. Now, if you've been living under a rock, allow your boy to explain. Dame Dollar, over the summer, which, by the way, the summer is over with a couple of weeks ago. We are now into the fall season, but over the summer and really, at the conclusion of the NBA Finals, let's give a congratulations to the Denver Nuggets, okay? But anywho, this rumor that really became reality, Dame Dollar asked for a request to be traded away from the Portland Trailblazers. Now, he did have a team that he would like to go to. Well, one team, which was the Miami Heat. He wanted to go to the Miami Heat. He felt like the Miami Heat organization has always had a winning formula. I really do believe the Miami Heat really does have a winning formula. Pat Riley is still at the helms of the Miami Heat organization. That ownership there is solid. And when you look at what they have, as far as their roster go, they have some very competitive players that have proven that has been battle tested over the recent couple of seasons. The Miami Heat is no stranger. They have a championship pedigree, and they have championship banners hanged in the arena. Not too long ago, the Miami Heat, in a strike shortened season, the Miami Heat made it all the way to the NBA Finals. Unfortunately, they got beat by the Los Angeles Lakers with LeBron James and Anthony Davis. That was a shortened season, but credit is due. The Miami Heat, as far as the franchise, has really created a pedigree, a winning formula pedigree. They have a winning formula as far as a system goes, and Dame Dollar wanted to be traded there. Not to mention the fact, the Miami lifestyle, fits Dame very well. Also, we know that Dame Dollar is a entertainer. He's a rapper, and he wanted to continue his rap career. Why not Miami? Okay. Plus, there's no sale tax in Miami. Beautiful destination, sunny skies, have an ambiance, a bevy of beautiful women, a Miami lifestyle. Plus, you're going to a team that has a championship pedigree, and they have a winning system with Pat Riley as well as the owner over there. What is not to like about the Miami Heat? Now, Dame Dollar wanted to go there. His agent also echoed those same sentiments, and the NBA, the Miami Heat also wanted Dame Dollar, but the first offer that Miami Heat, tried to negotiate getting Dame Dollar over there was not a very good offer. You know, even despite what the journalists and Dan Levitar and all those journalists over there in the Miami Heat community would tell you, they felt like and they believe that was a great package. And he's already been on the record saying that that's the only place he wanted to go. Obviously, the Miami Heat undersold as far as bidding for Dame Dollar, because they knew that they was bidding with themselves, so they underbid. They could have add more oomph to the deal, and they could have already landed Dame Dollar weeks ago. And they played, they sort of kind of played themselves, okay? And they're saying to themselves, well, Dame Dollar don't want to go anywhere else. The NBA got involved, the commissioner got involved, fined Dame Dollar, with this new CBA and the new rules and the regulations that go on at the CBA. You just can't just say, I just only want to go to one team and one team only. Now, when Kevin Durant wanted to be traded away from the Brooklyn Nets, it took it took half of a season to get it done. But Kevin Durant was being a little bit more realistic and open his portfolio as far as teams he wanted to go to. He had two teams on his list. He had the Phoenix Suns as well as the Miami Heat, which, by the way, for the past couple of seasons, both of these organizations have made it and advanced real far in the playoffs. Made it a couple of times in the finals. And Kevin Durant, opened his portfolio and say, okay, it's not just one team I want to go to. I would like to go to those teams, but he also listed other teams as well. It took them a half a season, but the deal was done. They sent Kevin Durant. They sent him to the Phoenix Suns. In return, the Phoenix Suns had to put a lot of oomph in the deal, had to also give up Chris Paul, gave up a lot of draft picks for Kevin Durant. And, it was a great deal for the Phoenix Suns. They got Kevin Durant, and it was also a great deal for the Brooklyn Nets. They got most of their draft picks back, since they lost a lot of their draft picks to get Kevin Durant. I'm sorry, not Kevin Durant, James Harden, was pretty much a rental, only lasted a season there. And the Brooklyn Nets were forced to trade James Harden to the Philadelphia 76ers, and they lost a lot of draft picks when they landed James Harden to get James Harden to Brooklyn. And Kevin Durant was very, very patient, and Kevin Durant, hey, they list the teams, and he was being realistic, but got the deal done. And Dame Dollar was being a little too unrealistic, only wanted to go to one team, and that team didn't want to bid for Dame Dollar, and they, a couple of their proposals were not to the liking of the Portland Trailblazers. Despite what Dan Levitar says, despite what the journalists in the Miami community say, and despite all these Miami Heat fans, particularly content creators. I'm not going to mention nobody's name because I don't want anybody to get upset. But, a lot of people were saying it was a great deal and it was the only deal. And we knew that this was going to take a while just for two teams involved. I thought that the Miami Heat organizations were being a little unrealistic. I thought Dame Dollar was a little unrealistic, and that's why the deal never went through. Now, there is a article that's floating around that said the Miami Heat gave them a even a better deal, sort of at the last minute, but at that particular time, the Portland Trail Blazers did not want to do business with the Miami Heat because they felt like they'll pretty much give Dame Dollar whatever he wanted, including if it meant destroying the future of the Portland Trailblazers. And the future of the Portland Trailblazers is this. They're in the same boat as the Oklahoma City Thunder. You know, the Oklahoma City Thunder traded away a lot of their great talented players and flipped them into picks and flipped those picks into even more picks. And when you look at the Oklahoma City Thunder, they got a lot of competitive young stars there. They're going to have a great, solid team, and they even got picks for the future. Okay, I think the Oklahoma City Thunder. When you look at Sam Presti, obviously going through the draft is the way to go instead of trying to bid for the services of a major superstar. The odds of a major superstar going to the Oklahoma City Thunder is slim to none. So what Sam Presti and Oklahoma City Thunder did, they said, let's just build through the draft. And they made a lot of hits on a lot of their picks through several drafts. And if you look at the Oklahoma City Thunder, they're ready to compete now. Are they ready to compete for a title? No. I think that's being a little unrealistic, but they are a very competitive team. And I suspect that the Oklahoma City Thunders are going to have a lot more W's than losses. The same goes for the Houston Rockets. The Houston Rockets betted on themselves after they got bamboozled by James Harden. They had no choice but to trade James Harden to the Brooklyn Nets. The Brooklyn Nets, in return, gave up a lot of draft picks, and they flipped those picks as well as other picks. And now they got themselves a very competitive young team. Plus, over the offseason, I believe they signed Fred Van Fleet. And as well as they got them a new coach over there. And the future looks bright for the Houston Rockets. The Houston Rockets with that young core is very competitive. And they should be a very competitive team this up and coming season. They look so good. James Harden wanted to go back to the Houston Rockets, and the Houston Rockets, said not so fast. I think they're going to keep what they got. They got a young team over there, and they're going to be very competitive, just like the Oklahoma City Thunder. So this is the way a lot of small market teams or teams that really don't have a large salary cap to utilize to get two max contract players. This is going to be the system and the formula for other teams to do. Hey, if you can't outbid for getting superstars there, and if your team is not desirable for a superstar, then hey, why not just start all over, rebuilding the draft? Maybe 3-4 years down the road, you'll have a very competitive team. And this is what a lot of organizations do. And if you look at the CBA, look at the rules and regulations, it favor teams that just simply go in the draft and build their teams from within, instead of just adding max contracts and things of that nature and giving up on your future a lot early. Okay. Now I feel like with this new system, it's not considered it's not considered favorable for player entitlement. I also think with this new system, it's not favored for teams that can dump salary and have enough salary to sign two max players, the possibility of signing three max players. It's not desirable for organizations that want to go that route, and it's not really set up or desirable for a max superstar to just dump the salary so he can add add more max to build a super team. I don't think with this new system is very favorable for the organization nor the superstar to build a super team. It's not very favorable, and you're going to be taxed. You're going to be taxed extremely. It's just difficult. Okay, so this is the way organizations are going to be moving in the near future, as well as the moving on. All right. So how all this applies to the Miami Heat. The Miami Heat clearly lost because they couldn't get Dame Dollar. If you look at the proposals that they was offering to the Portland Trailblazers were passing on these proposals. And if you look at the NBA, that's the reason why the NBA fined Dame as well as his agent for recent comments that they made. They had to backtrack on a lot of comments they made in the offseason. And they had to open their horizons to other teams. And that's why this deal ultimately got done. The Bucks had to add more oomph to make this deal go through, which Miami was unable to do over the summer. They had and if you look at the Miami Heat organization, they had a 3-week head start over the Bucks. And they still couldn't get it done because they didn't want to give up everything for Dame Dollar, and now you don't even have anything. Now, there's some reports out there that the Portland Trailblazers wanted the Miami Heat's best players as well as draft picks, and the Miami Heat said no. All right, so it is what it is. And if you look at what ultimately happened last week, Dame Dollar, a lot of players were moving around in different places. Okay. Now I'm not going to talk about, the other players, and I'm not going to be talking about draft picks, how this draft pick moving forward is going to help this team down the road. I am going to be talking about the major key players that was affected in this deal. And we're going to start off with Dame Dollar. Dame Dollar goes to the Milwaukee Bucks. I think he went to a better team, in my humble opinion, if you compare Milwaukee to the Miami Heat. He's going to be pairing up with the Greek Freak. And a lot of people think that this is a tandem similar to Kobe and Shaq. I wouldn't go to that extent, because if you look at the success Kobe and Shaq had and the untapped potential that they never discovered as a tandem, what they could have done, these Kobe and Shaq could have, wrecked the league. They could have won a lot more titles than what they ultimately settled for. And if they could have just put their heads together and agree to disagree and work together, this tandem, Kobe and Shaq, could have won 6, maybe 7 NBA titles, because you had the most dominant player in that time span, which was Shaq, and you had the closest thing to Michael Jeffrey Jordan, and that was Kobe being Bryant. And if these guys could have worked together, if they could have put aside their differences, if I felt like Kobe as well as Shaq was a little thin-skinned, particularly Kobe, when he wasn't feeling Shaq sunning him, saying that's my little brother. It just did not, Kobe just did not like that, opinion about the whole situation. And if you look at Shaq, if he would have took his off-season resume, or what he does in the off-season to stay competitive, to instead of just depending on his dominance, which is his physical dominance, if Shaq could have just went into the off-season, and worked hard in the offseason and prepared his body for the next season. But, Shaq had a lot of irons in the fire. Shaq wanted to be a rapper. Shaq wanted to be in movies. Shaq wanted to be in TV shows. Shaq wanted to be an international star, more so than just being a basketball player that's going to rule his era. Okay, is there a way Shaq could have, is there a way Shaq could have, took the offseason more seriously and still accomplish these things outside of basketball? That's a possibility. But obviously, Shaq chose a different way. And he just got bigger and bigger. He didn't work on his body. He was every year he would get injured. He would never work on the fundamentals like making free throws. Now Shaq always said, "I make them when I need to make them." But Shaq could be competing if he took free throw shooting very, very seriously, particularly in the offseason. Shaq could have been competing for Kareem Abdul-Jabbar's scoring record. Because you got to realize Shaq in that era there was a term called hack a Shaq, where Shaq would get hacked a lot. And if he would have made a 60%, I take that a lot back. If he could have made 60% or more, Shaq could be competing for Kareem Abdul's Jabbar scoring record. Okay. That's how easy the points were coming. All right. But Shaq didn't want to do that. Shaq was just set in his ways. And Kobe being Bryant, God rest his soul, he had some faults too. Obviously, these two couldn't work together. And ultimately, Shaq had to be traded to the Miami Heat. And Kobe wanted the team for himself. He struggled in a lot of seasons. And he didn't start winning again until the Lakers got Paul Gasol from the Memphis Grizzlies. And the rest, they say, is history. All right. But that's what Dame Dollar and the Greek Freak reminds everyone, that they're the next Kobe and Shaq. I don't want to say that they had the potential of being Kobe and Shaq, but I do understand having a small man and a big man working as a tandem, and I think this is going to really benefit the Memphis Grizzlies. I think now with the Greek Freak, he needs to work more on his post game. He don't need to take the ball down. He don't need to take the ball from half court or full court. Dame can do that. Dame can take the ball down court, establish plays, allow the Greek Freak to get in position. They can be like Stockton and Malone, a pick and roll. He needs to work on his shots, which he does very well. But he'll also have the ability to abuse the defender and take him down low. Pause. Where he can get the 3-point shot, where obviously he's going to make the dunk or make the turnaround shot. He's going to get hacked, and he's going to go to the free throw line. So I think this is a great tandem with Dame as well as the Greek Freak. I think these guys could represent the East in the NBA Finals. And I said in a video last week talking about this, there's really only two teams in the East that everyone is fearing in the East, and that is the Milwaukee Bucks and the Boston Celtics. And I feel like a lot of teams out East are going to feel the pain when they have to play against the Celtics as well as the Milwaukee Bucks. I think with this trade, other than if your team doesn't have the name of the Boston Celtics, your team is struggling. Okay, it honestly, when you look at the Chicago Bulls, the Orlando Magic, the Miami Heat, when you start looking at these Eastern Conference teams, even the New York Knicks, they scaled back some. They took a couple of steps back by this trade being official. So it's going to have to cause those teams to try to negotiate a trade or hope that what they had in previous trades finally paying out for them. So we're going to have to wait and see. But I really think it's going to put a hurting on a lot of teams in the East, because I feel like the two teams that's going to dominate the East is the Celtics and the Milwaukee Bucks. Okay, so moving away from that trade, we're going to be talking about DeAndre Ayton to the Trailblazers. Now, to me, I knew something was in the air when Kevin Durant went to Phoenix, and all of the players that the Phoenix Suns have made trades for. I can't think of the guy who used to be with the Washington Wizards. Now he's with the Miami Heat. His name's going to come to me, but you guys know who I'm thinking of. And if you look at, oh my God, I had his name in my head. Oh my God, the dude that's already on the Miami Heat. Jesus Christ, I am struggling. Okay. But when you look at those three as a tandem, I knew that having all three of them there for the Portland Trailblazers is going to be not good news for DeAndre Ayton. DeAndre Ayton, as far as an offensive player, he has the talent to flourish on the offensive side of things. However, he's very limited on the defensive side. Now, the new coach there for the Phoenix Suns, he used to he knows a thing or two about coaching. The last stop he was at was with the Los Angeles Lakers. Won a title with the Los Angeles Lakers with LeBron James. Devin Booker, that's his name. Devin Booker, Kevin Durant, and I can't think of the third guy, but it's going to come to me. I do apologize. I should have had all this stuff written down. Well, when you talk about the Phoenix Suns, but having those three players there, those are offensive players, and those players are going to also demand the ball. They can also play without the ball, but still is able to score. And having those three guys there, you don't have Chris Paul there. Chris Paul got traded to the Golden State Warriors. That means, DeAndre Ayton is just going to have to get his points with putbacks, maybe a couple of plays here and there. Maybe if one or two of those players are not playing a certain game, he might light them up. But I felt like having those three players there, DeAndre Ayton is not going to be utilized very well on the offensive side of things. And I knew something was in the air when all three of those players went to Phoenix, and that really jeopardized DeAndre Ayton's touches with the Phoenix Suns. Even though despite what everyone in the Phoenix Suns organization said that, hey, we've got a new coach here, even a new coach, I just recently forgot his name. The new coach said that he had a big man like that in Anthony Davis with the Los Angeles Lakers. And look what he did with him. And he was echoing the same thing about DeAndre Ayton. He said DeAndre Ayton reminds him a little of Anthony Davis. I really don't see it, but he the one who said it. Okay. And I'm not going to hate on him, but I knew it was going to be doom and gloom for DeAndre Ayton having all three of those offensive tier players on Phoenix. That's going to limit his touches. So I knew either they was going to, they was going to definitely trade him, and they trade him to the Portland Trailblazers. So he went to the Portland Trailblazers. He's going to a team where he's going to get more touches with the ball. He's also going to a team that's not going to heavily demand him to be on the defensive side of things, even though he's going to help defensively, but they're not going to, exclusively have him for defense, because when you get DeAndre Ayton, you're picking up DeAndre Ayton because he's extraordinarily talented with the ball and what he can do for your offense. Okay. You don't sign up on a trade like this saying, okay, we got DeAndre Ayton. We're gonna make him a lockdown defender or someone that's going to help us on the defensive side of things. No, when you get DeAndre Ayton, you get what you pay for. He's an extraordinary talented offensive player. Now, maybe I'm pumping him up a little bit, but you're getting him because of his offense. You're not getting him because of his rebounding or his block shots or, just locking down a defender. You're just not getting him for that. So him going to Portland is a great thing for him. Now, I don't think he's in the in the long-term plans of Portland, because Portland is, rebuilding. But I think he fits them for the short-term plans with a possibility of maybe helping them in the long term, because he's still a young guy. And when the Portland Trail Blazers get seasoned enough, when they have enough talented players and those players gel very well, the sky's the limit for the Portland Trail Blazers. Maybe they start competing next season. I don't see it, but maybe 2 years down the road, I can see them being very competitive, being a very competitive team in the regular season. I don't see a future as far as them advancing in the postseason, but a lot of things can happen from now to 2 years down the road. I think he fits for the Portland. DeAndre fits for the Portland Trail Blazers, in the smallest plans. But I just, we have to wait and see how the long-term effects it helps. I do see him possibly, if it works out for Portland, great. Okay. That's wonderful. But I do see DeAndre Ayton, if it doesn't work out, maybe a year from now, possibly 2 years from now, they may be, in a selling market of, maybe trading DeAndre Ayton. DeAndre Ayton already got his money. He already got his deal with Phoenix already gave him his deal, and he's on that deal for, like, I believe 5 years. I think the Portland Trail Blazers, as far as 5 years go, there's a possibility if he works and gel well with the players they already have, they're good with him. Okay. But let's just say hypothetically down the road, they go into the draft and they draft a big man that's even better than DeAndre Ayton. I just don't think he has much of a future if they do that, and I can see them possibly trading him to another a team, to another organization. But this could potentially work for the Blazers. They're not in no rush to compete. They're not in no rush to go into the playoffs. This fits DeAndre Ayton very, very well. Maybe 2 years down the road, he's a little bit more mature. He's more seasonal, and he's been in the recent news of dating a porn star, and that's your business, what you do outside of the organization. It's not a crime for you to be in a relationship with a porn star. However, if you look at the decisions he's making off the court, if you are an owner, or if you're a part of an organization that just traded for DeAndre Ayton, it just doesn't look very well, and it looks kind of spooky. Okay, so I can see how people can look at this and have buyer's remorse, or just not interested in DeAndre Ayton. But I feel like this is ultimately going to work, and it's going to take some time. And with time, who knows? He can probably gel well with the players that's already on your team, as well as your future players. So everything hinges on, is there a big man down the road, a year from now, 2 years from now, that's better than DeAndre Ayton? Or do you get the number 1 pick or the top 5 pick, and you have an opportunity to get that big man? So it all hinges on that. Okay, but I feel like this is a great place for DeAndre Ayton. I think this is great for the Portland Trail Blazers. They're not going anywhere anytime soon. Okay, so that's all I got on DeAndre Ayton. I think this is a win-win for him as well as the Portland Trail Blazers. All right, so moving on. Jrue Holiday was part of the deal that sent Dame to the Milwaukee Bucks. Jrue Holiday went to the Trailblazers, and the Trailblazers, look, they're looking at it as, we're not ready to compete right now. Why would we have a player that's really not part of our long-term plan? And I'm pretty sure Jrue Holiday doesn't want to be with the Portland Trail Blazers, because Portland Trail Blazers are going to be rebuilding for the next couple of years. They're going to collect more L's than W's. So they sent him to the Boston Celtics. Now, the Boston Celtics sent a couple of their core players that they were heavily depending on last year. They also sent draft picks to the Portland Trail Blazers. I do feel like, those players that they sent really are not in the plans of the Portland Trail Blazers. It would not surprise me none if Portland flipped these two players to some competitive teams that are very competitive in the regular season. They just need a couple established veteran players to get them over the hump. Okay. So I feel like down the road, I can see those two players being traded to like maybe the Golden State Warriors, to maybe like the Clippers or the Lakers, or maybe to the Knicks, or to the Philadelphia 76ers. Okay. Whoever, is, who is very competitive in the West and the East. So Jrue Holiday went to the Celtics. And I felt like this was a great, great trade for the Boston Celtics, because they, here's in recent few, and particularly with the previous trades that has happened in the offseason and until now, a lot of great top tier defenders that were on great teams have moved on to other teams. Boston Celtics, I forgot. Oh, golly. Man, I am slipping today. He went to the Memphis Grizzlies. So I feel like Jrue Holiday fits that need, as well as he fits the two players that left Boston in this deal. So you got the unicorn with the Boston Celtics, you got Jrue Holiday, you got Tatum, you got Brown. I feel like this makes the Boston Celtics a very serious team in the East. Now, remember what I said earlier in this live stream? I said with the Milwaukee Bucks trade with Dame, I felt like it in the East, it's really only two teams. It's the Milwaukee Bucks and the Boston Celtics. Now, the Boston Celtics added Jrue Holiday over the weekend, and I feel like the Boston Celtics are a little bit better, a little notch better than the Milwaukee Bucks. And we're just speculating right now. No one has played yet, okay? But I do feel like Boston has gotten a lot better with Jrue Holiday. You got a defender, you got someone that can also score. Particularly giving Tatum a rest, giving Brown a rest. Now now Jrue Holiday did have some setbacks in the playoffs. He didn't play very, very well. Plus, he's been on and out. He's been in and out injured. But you're not going to be really depending on Jrue Holiday that much. All right. So this is a great, great. I feel like this is a good trade. It fits well for Boston. And if you look at the Portland Trailblazers, they got a couple of picks. Plus, they got two players that later on they can flip down the road. I don't think either of these players are in the plans for the Portland Trailblazers, because the Portland Trailblazers are in rebuild mode. But I do feel like they're going to be very useful for Portland, because it's going to be teams that's going to be very competitive, that needs a couple of pieces here and there to stay competitive. And they may pick up the phone and call Portland for either one of those players. I don't think either of those players are going to be with the Portland Trail Blazers when it's all said and done at the end of the regular season, this up and coming regular season. However, I felt like Jrue Holiday is a perfect fit for the Boston Celtics, and it put the Boston Celtics a notch over, a slim notch over a slim notch over the Milwaukee Bucks. I got sidetracked there for a second, guys. I was looking at my phone because I was looking for something, but it puts them over the hump. Okay, Yeah. But anywho, that's that's what that's what's going on with all of these teams. I feel like hold on one second, guys. Okay, I'm back. I feel like all of those teams have the potential of 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 having bright futures, but in different ways. I feel like when you talk about the Phoenix Suns, I think there's a possibility that they could hold the NBA title with these recent moves they have made thus far. When you look at the Portland Trailblazers, I feel like they're still rebuilding. DeAndre Ayton can be part of their short-term future, and if it gel very, very well, maybe their long-term future. When you look at the Milwaukee Bucks, I feel like the Milwaukee Bucks improved. I think they have the potential of also winning the title as well. But if you look at the Boston Celtics, I think it makes this team extraordinary better. Okay. And I feel like all four of these teams, particularly in the past from last week till this weekend, has increased their chances and their odds to have bright futures for several years. Okay, for years to come. Um, and when you look at the other teams that were competing for these titles. When you look at the Miami Heat had a possibility of getting Dame Dollar, but they didn't get Dame Dollar. They didn't get Dame Dollar because of ego, because of they thought that they were the only one in the negotiation room that could get Dame Dollar, and it never resonated. They thought they didn't have to bid for the services of Dame Dollar. They thought that Dame Dollar was going to come to them, and they didn't have to give up a lot for Dame Dollar. And they got outplayed. They got out hustled, outplayed by the Milwaukee Bucks. Now Dame Dollar says he's happy being traded to the Milwaukee Bucks, and technically Dame Dollar got his wish. He wanted to go to a competitive team. I think he went to a better team when you talk about the Milwaukee Bucks versus the Miami Heat. I think short term, he would have been happy with Miami, with the Miami lifestyle, and he wants to as far as his rap career, he wants to be more serious in that field. That would have helped him like if he would have went to Miami, but I felt like after 2 seasons, he's going to look around and say, well, I just left the Portland Trailblazers because that wasn't a very competitive team, and now I'm going to Miami, and this team is not very competitive, particularly if they had to give up a lot for Dame Dollar. He goes to Miami and he's just moving from one organization that that was not competing to another organization that they had to give up a lot, and they're not competing. So he would have been short term happy, but in the long term, I think he would have had an issue with it. And he would have been unhappy. You sometimes, you know, sometimes it's just best be careful what you wish for. I think the best this thing that ever happened to Dame Dollar, and he probably won't agree to this, and maybe fans won't agree to this. I think the best thing that happened to Dame Dollar is that he got fined and he had to backtrack and say that he would come to training camp to wherever team he goes to. So yeah, so I think he went to a better situation with the Milwaukee Bucks. He plays alongside Giannis, and even though a lot of people are saying this could be the next reincarnation of Kobe and Shaq, not so fast on that. I don't think to be honest with you guys, I think they're going to be a great tandem, but Kobe and Shaq is speaking a lot. they can have a lot of success similar to like Stockton and Malone. So I see more of that than Kobe and Shaq, but those are still uh, tall shoes to fill. Okay, and they have a possibility of winning a title. Okay, now a lot of people feel like there's a lot of pressure. There's a lot of pressure on Dame Dollar, particularly going to the Milwaukee Bucks, because a lot of people are looking at it like this. Okay, Giannis already won his title with the Milwaukee Bucks. Now it's time for Dame Dollar to win one for the Milwaukee Bucks. Okay, because he hasn't never been in a situation like this in his career, in his NBA career. I don't think you can go too fast saying that. I do feel like Dame Dollar has the opportunity of winning a title with the Milwaukee Bucks in the next couple of seasons. I think the window is the window is fully open for the Milwaukee Bucks. All right. But eventually, I feel like ultimately Tatum and Brown are going to figure it out, and they're gonna run roughshod in the Eastern Conference, and they're gonna have their own little dynasty. It's not if they do it; it's simply when. And they had a few attempts to get over the hump and win a title for Beantown, and I think eventually this is going to happen. Tatum and Brown are going to win a title for Boston. And with this recent deal that Milwaukee did, hold on one second. Okay, on this recent deal, what Milwaukee did, they have the potential of winning the title for Milwaukee for the next couple of seasons, possibly 3. And but I feel like Boston is sort of like on the clock. They done paid Tatum, they done paid Brown, but eventually those two contracts are going to hurt the rest of your roster, because if you putting all your money in the basket of 2 players and you're maxing both of these players out, there's only you're only on limited funds to fill out the rest of the roster. So you better hope that Porzingis, you better hope that works for you. You can't miss with Porzingis, okay? You can't miss with Jrue Holiday. You better hope that this trade that you hit very well with Jrue Holiday, because you don't have enough flexibility financially to make mistakes on Porzingis or Holiday. Okay, so you better hope that you hit on these 2 players as well as the rest of the roster. I feel like they still have enough talent on that roster, and they're going to be competing with the Milwaukee Bucks. We'll have to wait and see who comes out of the East that's going to be in the NBA Finals. But I feel like it's just those 2 teams. It's just those 2 teams in the field. I would take the Milwaukee Bucks and the Boston Celtics over the field on the East. Okay, I don't think there's another team in the East that can compete with them. Not even the Philadelphia 76ers. I do feel like the Philadelphia 76ers are on the clock. They need to hurry up and trade Harden to reassure Joel that they are a very competitive basketball team and they're willing to do anything to get a superstar to join up with Joel Embiid. I think if you look at the Philadelphia 76ers, they haven't given up on Maxwell. He's in their plans, their short-term plans and their long-term plans. They, are denying requests. That there's a lot of teams that want that Maxey. There's a lot of teams that want him, but the Phoenix Suns are determined to keep him. Now they're willing to give up James Harden, but they're gonna have to. But I don't think there's a lot of interest for James Harden. James Harden has proven that he's not very dependable for whatever team he goes to. He's sort of like a, crybaby. We want to call him a crybaby. He wants to take his ball and run. When James Harden was in his prime, he can get away with that. I think James Harden is he's still a solid player, but he's not the James Harden of old, particularly the James Harden that ran roughshod with the Houston Rockets and with the Brooklyn Nets when he was a rental player there for 1 year. And you saw you saw it briefly with Phoenix, but James Harden's not that guy no more. Okay. And a lot of teams are not interested in James Harden, particularly with the recent comments he said about the Philadelphia 76ers organization. They feel like he's more trouble than he's worth. And nobody's not rushing for that headache. Okay. So the Philadelphia 76ers, they're going to have to figure out a way to make Joel Embiid happy, or next offseason, Joel Embiid wants to be traded out of Philly. All right. And there have been reports out there that if that happened, the team on the list is the New York Knicks. The New York Knicks have the draft picks, they have the draft capital, as well as they have the players to trade for Joel Embiid. Now, I don't think as far as trading, I don't think as far as trades go, the ideal scenario is a team in the East trading their best player out west, so they don't have to see him or deal with him often. Philly and New York are Eastern Conference teams, and I just don't think Philly is going to entertain that. Okay, now I do feel like him going out west, there may be a lot of teams out west that would will entertain a deal like that. But do they have the draft capital? Do they have cap flexibility in their salary cap? And I feel like possible teams on the list, particularly out west, the Sacramento Kings may be interested in Joel Embiid going there. The Los Angeles Lakers possibly, no, the Los Angeles Clippers possibly would entertain a deal like that. They will have to, they would have to send Paul George or trade Paul George before they can get Joel Embiid, or trade a Kawhi, or trade Kawhi to Philly for that to get done. There's a lot of stuff they will have to do to make that deal get done. On the outside looking in, the Golden State Warriors, they got too much money invested in their core players. I think it's a long stretch for them to trade for Joel Embiid. They would have to completely change their identity and completely change how they do things on the court. And likewise for the Los Angeles Lakers. Yet, the only thing that they can offer is Anthony Davis. They would need a third team. Plus, when you look at the salaries, it's gonna be damn near impossible for this to happen. Okay. Philly will have to take on some dead money, and I just don't think Philly's interested in that. So, and this is like, we have to wait till the end, the conclusion of this up and coming regular season to even see if Joel Embiid is going to demand a trade. Okay. And I feel like the Philadelphia 76ers are on the clock to get James Harden off the roster. And maybe there's a sucker born every minute. And maybe there's an organization that's willing to give up a lot for James Harden. I don't see it. I really don't see it. I don't see it out west, and I definitely don't see it out east. Okay. It will. If he didn't have I'm gonna say one team out east, which I don't see how it's gonna get done because, like I said earlier in this live stream, the more successful trades, they don't do it in conference. Okay. But I'm gonna give you one team out east and one team out west. The Brooklyn Nets may be interested in, but there's so much bad blood between James Harden and the Brooklyn Nets organization. The Brooklyn Nets will not take James Harden, no matter even if their life was dependent on it, they still wouldn't pick James Harden. So that's a no-go. But I can see a lot of pieces that they can offer to Philly, including Ben Simmons, that could make it work. And I've heard a lot of particularly the rumor mill people, particularly when you talk about Joel Embiid, I've heard that proposal. Okay, but I don't think it's going to happen. All right. Now the team out west, I definitely could see the Sacramento Kings, but the Sacramento Kings will have to give up a lot for Joel Embiid because Joel Embiid don't just grow on trees, and they will have to give up what they have on their roster now, plus a lot of their future when you talk about their draft picks. If that happens, then the Philadelphia 76ers are trusting the process once again. They're going back into rebuilding. They're in rebuilding mode. All right. But those are the two teams I can probably see. But it really hinges on if Joel Embiid doesn't have a phenomenal season this year. These recent trades and these recent decisions, particularly in NBA offseason up to now, has proven very beneficial to the Milwaukee Bucks, to the Boston Celtics. They got extremely better, and it seems like everyone else is stuck in mud. So Philly, they need to make a deal to compete with these previous deals and increase their odds and chances as far as coming out of the East. Because what they have status quo, it ain't hit. It ain't landing. Okay. Joel plus another year with Joel Embiid and James Harden, you're going to get the same results. I mean, unless James Harden goes back into the future, hops in the DeLorean, and does a Michael J. Fox, and he comes back with the James Harden 6 years ago. That's the only way James Harden is going to get better. All right. Or Joel Embiid have a individual phenomenal career season that no other NBA superstar has ever had, particularly a big man. If he's doing that, then maybe the Philadelphia 76ers have a chance to leapfrog over the Bucks and the Celtics. Okay. But I don't see that happening either. Okay. I think he's going to have a great season, but I don't think he's going to be that great. I mean, if he just break history and does something no other NBA superstar has done in NBA history, and James Harden just gives you, brief glimpses of James Harden. So yeah. Let me look on. Let me see how we doing with time. Okay, we got a couple more minutes. Okay. So first and foremost, I'd like to thank everyone that have been paying attention to a lot of the videos. It seems like you guys want me to talk more about the behind the scene things, particularly with sports entertainment. The personalities behind these networks. I think you guys want me to focus more on that than the actual news in sports. All right. So I'm definitely going to give you content like that. I really do appreciate everyone. My first and foremost, I'd like to thank my graveyard crew. My graveyard crew has been coming in and out, particularly with this live stream. I appreciate you guys coming in. I also like to thank the people that get up extremely early to start their day. I like to thank you guys as well. I really do appreciate you guys coming in. and just spending a little time with your boy. And I also like to thank my day one subscribers. I like to thank people who have either been my day one subscribers or just now subscribed. I really do appreciate you guys doing that from the bottom of my heart. Really do appreciate that. As always, the comment section is your guys' domain. You guys can say yay or nay on the decisions on the things I have talked about. And I kind of like to leave the comment section your guys' domain, and I just briefly stop by and give you my thoughts, my opinions, and like what I like, and just keep it pushing, keep it moving on. Okay. But yeah, I like to appreciate everyone that have recently subscribed to the channel. I like to thank to my day one subscribers, and I also like to thank my night crew, as well as the people that just wake up just starting the day, drinking their cup of joe and listening to Just My Opinion podcast. So another episode is in the books. Guys, as always, rate, comment, subscribe, share this live stream with your friends, family, and followers. It's your boy, the host with the most. I do not brag or boast. And I'm coming to you guys live from coast to coast. I'm gone, folks. I am gone. See you next Monday morning. All right. On the live. All right. Other than that, check out my other videos that's going to be uploaded in the next several days.